welcome back to Tyreek Talk. Walking into the Whitney Museum during the 2026 Biennial, you start to notice how the definition of art is expanding beyond objects on walls. The Whitney has always been a space for experimentation, but in this exhibition, that experimentation feels especially connected to the way we live today, online, in conversation, in constant streams of information. Curated by Marcela Guerrero and Drew Sawyer, this biennial reflects a moment shaped by systems, technological, social, and political. It's not just about what artists make, but how they engage with the world around them. And increasingly, that world exists not only in physical space, but in digital networks. Joshua Citarella's work enters the biennial directly through that space. His project Doomscroll is a podcast, something that might initially feel outside the traditional boundaries of a museum. But here, it becomes a central part of the exhibition, recorded live inside the Whitney itself. The gallery transforms into a studio, and the act of conversation becomes the artwork. At first, the setup is simple. A sparse arrangement, microphones, chairs, a minimal set. It mirrors the format of the podcast as it usually exists in downtown Manhattan. But placed within the Whitney, this familiar structure takes on a new meaning. Because now, the audience is not just listening, they're present. They become part of the recording, part of the atmosphere, part of the work. Doomscroll explores online culture and politics in the 21st century, topics that shape everyday life but often feel fragmented, fast-moving, and difficult to grasp. Citarella brings these conversations into focus, creating a space where ideas can be unpacked in real time. Recent episodes have examined themes like the role of celebrity in political discourse, the psychology of liberalism, and the connections between masculinity, fitness culture, and conservatism. These are subjects that circulate constantly online, through social media, forums, and algorithm-driven feeds. But here they're slowed down, discussed, interrogated. There's something powerful about that shift, because doom-scrolling is typically a passive act, endlessly consuming information, moving from one piece of content to another without pause. Citarella takes that experience and transforms it into something active, a conversation, a collective moment of reflection. And within the Whitney Biennial, this transformation becomes even more significant. This exhibition is deeply concerned with how systems influence thought, behavior, and identity. Citarella's work operates directly within those systems, but also creates distance from them, allowing us to see them more clearly. There's also a performative aspect to the work. Each live recording becomes a unique event. The energy of the room, the presence of the audience, the direction of the conversation, all of it shapes the outcome. The podcast is not fixed. It evolves with each iteration. And that sense of unpredictability connects to the broader atmosphere of the biennial. Nothing here feels static. Everything is in motion. Ideas, identities, systems of meaning. The Whitney's architecture reinforces this experience. The openness of the space allows sound to carry, to spill into surrounding areas, blending with the movement of visitors. You might not even realize at first that you've entered a live recording, and then suddenly you're part of it. Listening, observing, participating, and that's what makes Citarella's work so compelling. It collapses the distance between art and everyday life, between the digital and the physical, between observer and participant. Within the Whitney Biennial 2026, Doomscroll becomes more than a podcast. It becomes a lens, a way of understanding how we process information, how we form beliefs, and how we exist within a world shaped by constant connection. And as you leave the space, there's a lingering awareness that the conversations shaping our reality are happening all the time. The question is whether we're just scrolling through them or actually taking the time to listen.